Well, tonight on the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, we got some development out of New York. And no, we're not talking about the migrant crisis this time. We're talking about the governor of New York, Kathy Hochul. She has signed a bill to develop a reparations commission. Let's go ahead and roll this short clip real quick so you can kind of hear about it. But then we're going to, we definitely going to talk about some things. Roll that.
To a round of applause just a little while ago here at the New York Historical Society. It effectively creates a community commission to study potential reparations for black New Yorkers. The 9-member commission will study the effects of slavery on the here and now and make recommendations. These recommendations may include compensation, but can also include policy changes. Slavery was made illegal in New York in 1827, but supporters of this bill say a racial wealth gap still persists. White families in the state have a median net worth almost 15 times that of black families, according to the comptroller. The new commission will study the link between historical racism and current disparities in housing, policing, and income. The governor pointed to the Buffalo mass shooting for those who doubt racism still exists. White gunman Peyton Gendron allegedly had written on his gun, "Here's your reparations," when he shot and killed 10 black New Yorkers in May 2022. The Reverend Al Sharpton says the creation of this commission is not about writing a check, rather about starting to heal the scars.
Where have we seen this before? Gavin Newsom, Governor Gavin Newsom out of California, formed the California Reparations Commission. And they're going to do their work for about a year and a half or so. And they come out with recommendations. And then when the recommendations came out that they should pay black folks some money, the first thing Gavin Newsom done actually went on Sean Hannity on Fox News and said, no, we're not saying it's a check. The Democrats make sure to keep saying that over and over and over, that no, it's not a check. We're not. And listen, if you see Al Sharpton around anything, then you know the fix is in. But let's talk about something real quick. Foreignassistance.gov. Now, some of you who've been here for a while, you know about foreignassistance.gov, and they never need a study or a commission or anything about foreignassistance.gov. But let me go ahead on and just kind of visit foreignassistance.gov with you a little bit, and then you'll understand kind of where we're going with this. Once again, this is foreignassistance.gov. This is something that you can go to yourself. We covered this before, but anytime they talk about reparations, I always want y'all to go to foreignassistance.gov. Maybe you have not, you don't even know about this site. As you can see, it was last updated on 12/15/2023. This section here, I have 2023 and the disbursements. Now it has this here because it's partially reported. It's not, everywhere, right? Okay. So when they talk about reparations and they say that we need a commission and a study, they did not need a commission or a study for any of this. They just decided, hey, we're going to do this. This is what we're going to put in the budget. And that's that. So while we are talking about reparations and we need reparations, also American citizens are talking about, hey, we suffer in this country. We need certain funding. Well, let's kind of look at so far what was dispersed, right? So if you go to our neighbor to the south, Mexico, you look at 110 million was dispersed to them. But what did they get money for? As you can see right there, democracy, human rights and governance, economic development, program support, peace and security is 5.9 million. Then you can see humanitarian assistance, et cetera, and they give you the managing agencies who's over that. Okay, that's our neighbor to the south, Mexico. You can go to a country like you say Ukraine. Now that's what was dispersed, but that has nothing to do with the military aid. That's 16 billion, but the military aid is something separate from what they were just giving them on, as you can see, economic development. 14.6 billion. Now, what if they want to do economic development in your city? You talking about they don't have money for reparations. I think 14.6 billion is a good start for that, right? That 51 billion you see they spent so far, that would be a good start for reparations. Wouldn't be the whole reparations, but it'd be a good start. You can go to South Africa was given 377 million this year. You can go, it don't matter where it's at, Latin America, Brazil's giving 48 million, Colombia, click Colombia. What do they do for them? Humanitarian assistance. Now, 202 million. What about the humanitarian assistance in the United States? So many people need that. Okay, you can go to India, got 100 and 81 million from the United States government. And these are our tax dollars. Pakistan, Afghanistan. Now, they gave them, 864.5 million for humanitarian assistance, a country they claim they pulled out of, but yet they get $1.1 billion. Now, what if the American people can get $1.1 billion for humanitarian assistance in this country? What if we dedicated $1.1 billion to invest into trying to help the homeless population, right? But we're going to give that much of our tax dollars, right, me and yours, to Afghanistan, right? You look at countries, if I zoom in, because I know a lot of people have been talking about a situation with Israel. Let me keep on zooming in here because you can zoom in. Jordan got $1.2 billion. What would they get that for? Economic development, education, and social services. Let's check this out. While they don't want to cancel your student loans, they make sure to give education to a lot of these other countries. And Israel, of course, you can see they got $3.9 billion so far dispersed this year. Now, to get the full scope, even with peace and security, because 2023 wasn't fully reported, so I went back to 2022, and you can see $3.3 billion went to Israel for peace and security, right? That's obligated that they're going to spend through the Department of State. If people talking about the money so much, right? And let me back off of that, get out here. But when they talk about, they spent $70 billion last year. Now, what if they took that same $70 billion and start putting it toward reparations? So don't let these people tell you they don't have money for reparations. Don't let them say, well, reparations is not just a check. Don't let them tell you any of that, because clearly they have $70 billion to disperse between 212 countries. So as you've seen, all the billions and billions of dollars that's being given out to all these other countries, that is your tax dollars and mine. They didn't need no commissions. They didn't need a study. Listen, when they wanted to give $1.1 billion to Afghanistan, they surely gave them a check. They gave them money, right? But when it comes to us, the descendants of slaves, we are told it's not a check, or it's not just a check. They want to definitely stay away from giving black folks their just due. And these are the Democrats. See, the Democrats, you're going to hear more and more and more about reparations commissions because of this election in 2024. What they're trying to do is trying to do something to appease you. But see, this is the issue, Democrats. This is the issue. We've seen all the money you have been giving to everybody. You've been giving money to the migrants that's coming in. You've been, you gave an anti-Asian hate crime bill through the COVID-19 bill. We've seen you sign that, right? Everybody's getting money. And I know it's just not the Biden administration that gave money, because Trump did it, Obama did it. Every president makes sure that all these other countries are papered up. This is why they got the so-called influence they have, because they are paying for it, right? Giving these countries all this money. But the issue is American citizens don't have the money. And for sure, black Americans don't. We're still being sabotaged. We looked at the Navy Federal story, and they talk about with conventional loans, didn't mention FHA or nothing like that, but with conventional loans, black Americans were that made $140,000 or more was not getting the loans when white people was getting them at $62,000, right? So we know that there are black people that can't get approved for business loans. And because that's called what it is. Even if you have a high credit score and you don't have a lot of debt to income, there are still human beings that's making these approvals. And most of these banks is owned by who? The folks. So if you want to say reparations is more than just a check, if I had to put together reparations, yeah, it would be definitely the check. The check is the main thing, but I'll also overhaul everything financial to make sure that we have an equal playing field and not just this one group who gets it all, no matter, they just got to show up, and the other group who are black people get nothing no matter what they get, or they get very minimal. You understand what I'm saying? But the Democrats are going to keep putting out these commissions. They're going to be city commissions. They're going to be state commissions in these blue states. They got to try to get you back on the Democrat train. You understand what I'm saying? If you don't, as black Americans, get back on the Democrat train, then they're going to lose, because they know all the investment that they do into other groups, they don't come into the voting booth for them. You understand? Either they're sitting it out, or some of them vote Republican, and some of them may vote Democrat. But you are the only group that has proven to actually show up for them. And this is the most insulting part about all of this, is that Black Americans have a standing legacy of showing up for the Democrat Party. And as I said many, many times before, you would think that they would say, let me prioritize Black Americans, because we know, guarantee, they will show up for us, so we make sure they're right. But you have to understand, whether they're Democrat or Republican, they believe in white supremacy. And with white supremacy, you got to keep Black people at the bottom. The Democrats depend on the same white supremacy as their white conservative. The Democrats play the game a lot different. The Democrats say, well, we got to let a few of them participate in white supremacy. And if you look at the people like Al Sharpton, who participates in white supremacy, right, and all the people that follow him, they don't do anything that bring up the greater Black community. They don't. They are the only ones that's getting butter on their biscuits. They're the only ones that's getting their checks. They're the only ones getting their little jobs, right? But the greater Black community aren't. They're constantly talking about what's happening to Black folks, but even though they are at the White House, how come nothing come out of it but photo ops? That's it. I talk with the president. I talk with the vice president. I talk with the press secretary. I did this. You talking, but nothing comes out of it. And that's the reason why you're up there. Because if y'all, Al Sharpton and the rest of y'all, if y'all actually was about the business of the Black community, you wouldn't be up there. Because you have to understand, the Democrats do not want to see Black Americans rise. Y'all always pointing at the Republican. No, let's talk about that Democrat. You vote Democrat over half a century, and you have not risen. You have perpetually gone down constantly. When you look at these Democrat states, you don't have a sanctuary city. Chicago is fighting to stay a sanctuary city. But where's the sanctuary city in America for the Black man and woman? You don't have a sanctuary. People that come across the border from wherever they come from can go to Chicago, go to New York City, wherever they want to go, and say, we will protect you from the federal government. We will not tell them where you at. We will not gather you up for them. If they get you, they're going to have to get you on their own. Matter of fact, even during the Trump administration, we will assist you in hiding from the federal government. Black Americans have never in the history of this country have been protected by no mayors, by no city council, by no police, by nothing. Everybody want to get at Black man and Black woman. That's, the sanctuary cities, to me, is more offensive to Black people, because where is the sanctuary city for us that we can go to whatever the city at and we know we're good? We ain't got nothing to worry about. We don't have a sanctuary city. That's why Black Americans should be invested on ending sanctuary cities, is because these cities are literally telling them they can break laws, but when you break anything, you get fined and jailed. The Democrats are the ones that are promoting the sanctuary cities. The Democrats, even, as I continue to tell you, there's about 4 states that the Democrats are not going to even have a primary in, right? Primaries are to allow the people, if they want Joe Biden as their Democrat, then they can vote for Joe Biden, right? But if they want another Democrat in the primary, they can vote for that person too. They're not even leaving it up to the voters to say if they want Joe Biden or not as their nominee. But this goes all the way back to 2016. When the Democrats chose Hillary Clinton and said, forget the people. That was the downward path of the Democrat Party, not protecting, quote unquote, democracy, and they proved they're authoritarian and not democracy. So we're going to believe that this group is going to actually do reparations? No. This is more trickery. This is more fakehood. This is more playing the game. Oh, well, we see how excited they got about California. Ooh, let's do it in New York. Because that's a good state we can do it in, right? California haven't cut one check to black Americans. Not a one. Not a one. And New York, they want to play the same game too. Listen, Democrats, y'all can do all the commissions you want. You clearly playing your hand. Listen, if y'all was smart, y'all wouldn't even make that statement. It's not about a check. Y'all wouldn't be silly enough to make that statement. But the Democrats, you have to understand, they on team white supremacy too. So they got to make sure to tell the greater of white supremacy society this. We doing this just to play with their emotions. That's what we doing this for. We got to let you know we're not giving them nothing. That's what that statement is not about a check. Even if Al Sharpton says it, it don't matter because he tied in with white supremacy on the left. We letting you know, greater society, don't worry. We're not gonna affect your position. We're going to make sure those black people stay at the bottom. If they get from underneath the bottom, then they did it on their own with the help of God. We're not going to help them like we're helping the migrants. We're not going to help them like we're helping all these other people throughout the world. We're giving them billions of dollars. No, these black Americans, we're going to do everything we can to make sure they stay a permanent underclass. So don't worry about your privilege. We're not about to affect that. We're not about to affect the wealth gap. We talk about it, but we're not going to do nothing about it. Trust me, we're not. We have proven for election cycle after election cycle that we will not do anything to affect your privilege, wealth gap, or anything else that you're receiving when we in power. So it don't matter if a Democrat's in office or Republicans in office, you good. Because understand the Democrat and the Republican are on the same team. Don't get caught into, well, they liberals and we conservatives. They're all on the same team. And they both agree that we got to stay at the top and the rest and black folks got to stay at the bottom. They all in agreement with that. They just in disagreement on the way they do it. Because some of them, the Democrat will say, well, Mr. Conservative, Mr. Republican, you do things too in their face and you're going to stir them up. And you won't get them to really go fight. And then the conservatives say, well, yeah, but you play with them too much. You want them intertwined in what we're doing. And no, we got to hurry up and do these things that we're trying to do. And say, no, you can't do them. The liberals say we can't do it like that. Because if you don't lull them to sleep, you're going to have that problem. And that's the problem. One want to lull us to sleep and have us participate in the system. And the other one says, nah, we got to hurry up and get our agenda done. We on a short time, right? So they are both in agreement with what goes on. That's why when the Democrats get in office, they're talking about we're going to do police reform and nothing happens because they want the police doing what they're doing. Just like I talked about with Greg Abbott and he's busting people everywhere. Biden not stopping him because that's what Biden wants him to do. Biden's cool with that. The Democrats are great with what he's doing. The only issue they got with Greg Abbott is that he's trying to block more of them coming in. Do you know the other day they was talking about 12,000 of them just came across the border? 12,000 people. There got cities in America that don't have 12,000 people in it. And 12,000 people come across the border in a day? And they want more to come across? But yet we have to get a commission and a study for reparations. And we're told it's just not a check. It may be other things. It may be policy changes. It may be, well, if it's not a check, it's not reparations. Just that simple. It's not reparations. So don't call it that. You can call it whatever program you want, but it's not reparations. Stop using the term reparations. Do not get excited about commissions that's not paying you anything. I'm so sick and tired of people playing on the emotions of my community, man. But they can only play on your emotions when you got hope. Listen, I have zero hope, zero in a Democrat. I have zero hope in a Republican. The only hope I have is in my God and in myself and a partial amount of my community, not the whole. because we know the majority in our community are still believing in this Democrat. And if you believe in that Democrat, you're going to find out the hard way. That's why I can call them out the way I call them out. This is why I can be consistent on what I say, is because I see the playbook. I see them. I know what they're doing. But this the thing. We're living in the age of exposure and knowledge. And the knowledge and exposure is accelerating even faster. Even as we're going into 2024, the knowledge and exposure is constantly happening. You're looking at all these different celebrities right now are getting exposed of all the dirt they've been doing behind the scenes. Every time I look up, somebody's name is out there that they done something. And a lot of these people that run in these circles, a lot of them vote Democrat too. They be at the DNC and they would, the Democrat politicians. I think that's interesting. You notice that Hollywood and music industry and all that, they love being with the Democrats. Have you noticed that? I'm not saying that the conservatives don't got no people ain't done no dirt now. Oh, yes, they do. They got plenty of them doing dirt. But I just think it's interesting that Hollywood and the music industry, they love the Democrat Party. But you see what the Democrat Party embrace. Going to increase their shaming tactics. They're going to increase the shields. They're gonna try everything they can. They're gonna throw the kitchen sink at Black America. They're going to throw it at us to try to get us to vote for them in 2024. But this is what I would say to the Democrats. To those who just unlearned and they just kind of lost, they will vote for you. Oh, yes, they will. If y'all think that we don't have people in the Black community who still really believe in the Democrats, you are sadly mistaken. Now, I know a lot of you who's listening. I know a lot of you who are different. And some of those same people listen to this podcast and they come listen to the podcast every time we post it. They're here to argue with me. I don't know why. I'm not the guy to argue with, because you're not going to tell me anything. It's because I do this. I've been doing this for a while. I read, research, study. I watch patterns. Patterns to me is more important than anything else. Patterns. What people say constantly. What people do constantly. Right? If you watch people more than you speak, if you listen more than you speak, you'll learn a lot more. And these Democrats have been following a pattern here for a while, playing on the emotions of Black people, fear mongering. That's the other tactic they like to use to Black people. Or if they don't get their way with Black people, then they become abusive. Now, how they become abusive, they get real mean with you and blame you for anything that whatever politician that they don't like. If they get in the office, they blame you for it. They don't blame white people who didn't come out and vote for them. They don't blame Asians. They don't blame Hispanics. They don't blame no other group. Just you if they lose an election. That is extremely abusive. And they're nasty about it. So they're nasty up to us if they lose. They call us stupid if we think for ourselves. Right? We stupid, right? We simple Simons and all that sort of thing. They really don't have a good view of us as a Black community. If you think about the way they treat us, they don't have a good view. But yet, we supposed to come out and vote for them. Play with our history, play with our emotions about slavery, because we the only group in this country they can play that with. They can't play that with no other group, just us. They play about our ancestors, fighting and passing away for certain rights and privileges. They play on that. They gaslight us and weaponize that too. If we saying, nah, I don't want to vote for none of y'all, I'm sending it out. Your ancestors died, playing on your emotions. Playing on your, like, oh man, my ancestors did kind of fight. Nah, I don't want to let them down. We are the only people they could play that with. It's very abusive. If you look at that, think about it. If you was in a relationship with a woman or a man and they treated you the way the Democrats treat the Black community, like playing on your emotions, right? Playing on your emotions constantly, or playing on your emotions about, let's say, a person that passed away in your family and they want to manipulate your affinity to that person that passed away in your family to get you to do what they want you to do. You understand? And if we saw a man or a woman doing that to their significant other, you're like, man, lady, get away from him or get away from that woman, bro. Like, why would you be with somebody that's so manipulative? Why would you be with someone so abusive? Like, come on, bro. Like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? We would view that person as the scum of the earth. The tactics the Democrats use on black people: manipulation, gaslighting, using the death of our ancestors to try to manipulate us into doing what they want us to do, playing with things like reparations, because they playing with it. They playing black people. They playing with you. Playing about reparations, knowing the economic, dire straits that we're in. The Democrats don't do nothing about it. Because you can go to Democrat states, not like black people is at the top of the top in these Democrat states. If their policy was so great, why aren't black people at the top? And in Republican states, then black people, all of them would be at the bottom. And you could clearly see, okay, Democrat policy is a lot better for black people. Look at how black people living in blue states and look at how they live in red states. It don't matter what state you live in. But once again, it don't matter about blue or red. It's white supremacy. That's why you can't get involved in that liberal conservative argument. The whole thing about the conservatives, a few things I can agree with on them, just a few. But when it comes to the greater scheme of things, they both on. That's why I tell people, don't be a Democrat, don't be a Republican, be politically independent. You make your own decisions based off of policies, not a politician's skin color, not a politician's religion, policies. Policy, policy, policy. And they don't have a policy for you, then you relax your nerves and then do you. You're not obligated to vote for nobody if you choose not to. Like, give me a reason to come out and vote for you. Give me a reason. You can't tell me the reason is the other guy. That's not a reason. No, the reason is I need a concrete policy. But y'all keep coming out saying that reparations is not just a check. Well, it's not a check. It could be education. It's not a check. It could be some, vouchers. If you're telling me it's not a check, then stop wasting my time. Stop playing with black people's emotions if it's not a check. Just leave us alone. It'd be nice if we can get the same amount of money Afghanistan be getting every year. It'd be nice. That could be a good start to reparations, 1.1 billion, right? That would be a great start. All the money y'all gave to all these other countries, that would be a great start for reparations. But what I told y'all, the Democrats do not want to give reparations to black Americans because, number one, they believe in anti-black racism. One. Two, they got to maintain white supremacy, like I said before. And maintaining white supremacy is white at the top, black at the bottom. That's maintaining white supremacy. Having black and white at an equal playing field, that means white supremacy is finished. It wouldn't be no so-called white supremacy because there'd be equality at that point. And you have to remember the statement. Equality is oppression to those who in a privileged position, who didn't earn it. So bringing us to an equal playing field, it means bringing them down, right? And bringing us up. They don't even want it. We're not saying we want to be like have it in reverse. That's not what we're saying. We're saying, hey, the same way you treat them, treat us. That's all everybody's saying. No more, no less. But the Democrats is not going to do that. And that's why I need to get it in black folks' thick skulls that they're not going to do it. We got to do it ourselves. Trump ain't going to do it either. He's not. Don't look to him. Don't look to no conservatives to do it for us. We got to do it ourselves, like our ancestors. You want to talk about your ancestors? They fought and they built everything on their own without voting for nobody. Everybody like to talk about Black Wall Street. They didn't go vote for that. They built it on their own. Look at all the towns black people had. They didn't vote for that. They built it on their own. They got with the community and say, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to work together. We're going to build this thing up. They didn't go out and vote for none of it. I'm telling you personally, all the things I've ever done in my life, I didn't go vote for it. I say, you know what? Develop a plan, try to work that plan out and make it happen. Didn't vote for any of it. Our greatest victories have never came through going vote. It came through us either putting foot to pavement, foot to butt, working with unity in the community, applying ourselves, and seeing it through. You can't vote your way into prosperity. You can't vote your way out of a problem. Only thing voting is good for is certain policies to assist us in the middle of us building something. That's the only thing that you can really vote for at that point, is making sure we get a certain assistance, certain government funding that we need to do for ourselves. See, the problem is with a lot of black Americas is You think that you can depend on the folks? That the folks, they do. Yeah, they look out for themselves. Yes, and they take your tax dollars to help their people. They sure do. As long as you live here, that's going to happen. Unfortunately. But what we can do is like we always have done. If we would stop appropriating all our money to things that don't matter, name brands, smoking up, whatever you're smoking up, alcohol, and take that money and actually build something in our community, we don't need to vote for that. We don't need nothing for that. We can do that ourselves. But some of y'all still act like we on a plantation. And we got to depend on them. No, we don't. We trust me, we can do it ourselves. And that's their greatest fear, is that we wake up and start doing things on our own without them. That's why they get so nervous when they see us in certain places, certain hotels they see us in, certain vacation spots. They get nervous, and that's why they start asking questions like, how you got here? White supremacy not working? We start to see black folks show up at these places? We can do for ourselves, but understand, the Democrats going to keep playing this commission game with you to string you along. And if you fall for that, if you let the Democrats, because trust me, when I see Democrat shields involved in anything, I'm like, oh, I'm over it. I'm over it. Well, they had some little reparations conference, what was it, in Atlanta, whatever, and it was a train wreck. It was an utter train wreck and a clown show. I look at who's speaking. I'm looking at who's putting on. I'm like, oh, I want to attend that. That's a clown show. That's a waste of time, waste of flight, waste of hotel. You got to understand when you're being played, ladies and gentlemen. But we definitely going to keep up what's going on out of New York. You know, instead, and they worrying about a commission. Won't you worry about helping Black America right there in your state? That's the thing. What about the homeless population of Black America? Why don't you help them? You need a commission for that. But actually helping Black folks? Oh, no, that's too much like right.